What if I told you that giving up something for Lent isn't just about sacrifice? It's about gaining something far more valuable. The truth is, the real purpose of giving something up isn't about willpower. It's about rediscovering a piece of yourself that's been buried under the noise of life. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll understand why it's not just an old tradition. It's an opportunity to transform your life. You see, for many, Lent is something we do because we're told to. It's what we see others doing. Cutting out chocolate, caffeine, social media. But let me ask you something. Have you ever stopped to ask why we even give things up in the first place? Have you truly considered the deeper meaning behind this tradition? Because here's the truth. When you give something up for Lent, it's not about the thing itself. It's not about whether you miss that cup of coffee or the donut you can't have. The true power of Lent isn't in what you remove, but in what you make room for. We live in a world that's constantly asking for our attention, our time, our energy, our resources. And sometimes we forget that we're not just bodies moving through life. We're souls searching for meaning. But how can we find meaning if we're always filled to the brim with distractions? If we're always chasing the next thing, always filling our minds and hearts with noise? How can we ever hope to hear the voice of purpose calling us? Now, here's where Lent comes in. When you give up something, you're clearing space. Space in your schedule, space in your thoughts, space in your soul. You create a pause in your life, a moment where you can stop and reflect. And when that happens, you open yourself up to something greater. It's not just about fasting, it's about feasting on what really matters. We've all heard it before. The idea of sacrifice, and we've all probably groaned a little inside when it's time to give up something we love. But let me ask you, have you ever considered that the sacrifice is not the end, but the beginning of a new journey? The journey where you begin to discover what you really need and what you've been holding on to that no longer serves you. We tend to think that the more we have, the more complete we are. But in reality, the more we hold on to, the more we clutter our lives. It's like trying to carry a heavy load. You can't move freely. You can't move toward anything if you're weighed down by things you don't need. And that's where Lent steps in. It's an invitation to release the unnecessary so that you can make room for the things that truly matter. Now let me ask you this. What would it look like if you stopped focusing on what you were giving up and started thinking about what you were making room for? What if, instead of focusing on the deprivation, you focused on the transformation? The power of Lent isn't in the sacrifice, but in the space it creates for growth. Because here's the thing, giving up something isn't just about going without. It's about rediscovering what's important in your life. It's about deepening your connection with yourself, with others, and with the greater meaning behind your life. But this is where the journey gets interesting. Because if you truly embrace this, you'll discover something you may not have expected. When you make space, when you truly allow yourself to let go, you'll find that the very things you thought you couldn't live without are the things that were holding you back. The distractions that filled your time, the habits that drained your energy, the things that numbed you, all of them fall away, and you're left with something far more valuable. In the process of giving up, you may just find what you've been missing all along. The truth is, we often hold on to things because we fear what's on the other side. We fear the discomfort, the unknown. But what if the discomfort isn't something to avoid, but something to embrace? What if that discomfort is actually a sign that you're moving towards something greater, something more meaningful? I'm not here to tell you that giving up something for Lent is easy. In fact, it's going to challenge you. It's going to test your willpower, your patience, and your ability to sit with discomfort. But that's the beauty of it. In the discomfort, you grow. In the empty spaces, you discover what really matters. And when you come out of this season of sacrifice, you won't just be lighter, you'll be stronger. You'll have a deeper understanding of yourself, your values, and what truly brings you joy. But here's where it gets real. This is not just a one-time thing. This isn't about enduring for 40 days and then going back to your old habits. Lent is meant to be a catalyst for lasting change. It's a moment in time where you intentionally decide to reset, to break free from the chains of habit and distraction. And when you emerge from this season, you'll have the tools to continue living with purpose, clarity, and focus. So, I'm asking you, what are you holding on to that's no longer serving you? What are the things in your life that you can release to make room for something greater? And most importantly, are you willing to embrace the discomfort of letting go, knowing that what you gain on the other side will far outweigh anything you give up? Now, I'm going to give you a few actionable steps that you can start right now. First, take a moment to really reflect. Don't just pick something to give up because it's easy or because it's what others are doing. Ask yourself, what's weighing me down? What do I hold on to that I think I can't live without? But deep down, I know it's holding me back. Second, don't just focus on what you're letting go of. Focus on what you're making space for. Imagine how your life could look without that thing. How would it feel to have that extra time, that extra energy, that extra freedom? Visualize the transformation you want to see in your life. Finally, be consistent. Don't wait until the last minute or give in to the temptation of returning to old habits. Stay committed to the process. Every time you feel tempted to go back to the old way, remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself of the freedom and growth that's just ahead. Lent isn't just about what you give up. It's about who you become in the process. So take this time seriously. Make it count. Because when you let go, you'll be surprised at what you can gain. And I promise you, by the end of this journey, you'll look back and realize that the thing you gave up was just the beginning of the most powerful transformation of your life. The real gift of Lent isn't the sacrifice. It's the freedom that comes with letting go. So, what's holding you back? Let go and make room for something greater.